In February 1974, an unknown 27-year-old walked onto Johnny Carson's couch with a book of poetry. By the end of the decade, she would be one of the most famous blondes in America.
My next guest I have not met, I have seen from afar, as they said. It was interesting. She was in the NBC commissary here a couple of weeks ago and was working on one of the shows in the building, I guess on Dom's show, Lots of Luck. And Mr. DeCordova, Mr. LaSalle, looked across the room and said, "Hey there," which they frequently do. And her name is Suzanne Somers, S-O-M-E.
Stay with the story because the real moment comes years later. After, the network had pushed Suzanne Somers out, and Johnny Carson brought her back to the stage. But what mattered most that night was what Johnny refused to do. As Suzanne later remembered it, 10 years before that introduction, she was sitting on a beach in the Bahamas with the man who would become her husband. She was 17. A woman she had just met asked what she wanted to do when she grew up. Suzanne gave the kind of answer most people would have laughed at. She said she wanted to do what Johnny Carson did. She carried that answer for 10 years, and on February 21st, 1974, she walked out from behind the curtain of the very show she had named, on that beach. She sat down on Johnny's couch. Then Johnny asked her a simple question.
Where's home for you?
Sausalito, California.
Yeah, and you came to Hollywood just to say, I want to be an actress and get into this nutty business?
I came to Hollywood to do I've been here 1 week.
That's all?
Right.
1 week. That was the entire resume she brought to the chair. She did not sound packaged. She sounded real, and the country was meeting her in real time. Then he asked her the question every interviewer asks when a writer shows up with a book. A first-time guest usually knows the safe answer. Suzanne gave him something else.
Yeah, I was looking for your book today.
Yes?
You write nice things.
Thank you.
Is this something just recent or that you always wanted to do? Or the poetry.
Well, I did it for the money.
That's nice and honest. That's nice and honest for a change. No great love, I wanted a buck.
Johnny had been doing this job for 12 years, and he had just heard something he wasn't expecting. The audience caught it. Johnny caught it. And according to later accounts, Fred Silverman was paying attention. Silverman was the president of ABC. He paid close attention to The Tonight Show, and according to later accounts, he remembered guests Johnny seemed to like. That night, on his television, the woman who had been in Hollywood for 1 week was already getting a laugh out of Johnny Carson on the first beat she gave him. A few minutes later, Johnny asked what else she had done. The summer before, George Lucas had released American Graffiti, and tucked inside that movie was a face millions remembered, even if they didn't know her name yet, the blonde in the white Thunderbird.
I played the mystery blonde in American Graffiti. In fact, I was going to, when he said...
See, now, I have not seen American Graffiti yet, so
This part that I played is a blonde lady that the central character looks for the entire evening. She is so unattainable, he never gets her. So I was going to come out tonight with a brown paper bag over my head, just to keep her completely unattainable.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that's a good credit to be in a picture like that.
Just like that, the mystery blonde from American Graffiti had a name. Johnny had not even seen the movie, but he knew good timing when he heard it. And Suzanne was not done yet. After she read part of her book on the air, she looked across the desk at Johnny Carson and Ed McMahon, two men who had been sitting beside each other for 12 years. And for a first-time guest, what she asked next was almost outrageous.
But I was thinking tonight of you and Ed. You've worked together for years, and you're obviously very good friends.
Right.
I've never seen you touch one another.
Well, there's see, we had a problem once. No, I know it. I know.
Take it on her.
You mean just...
Take it on her.
She had just directed Ed McMahon across the stage. She had gotten the audience to back her up, and she had made Johnny Carson take a hug from his legendary sidekick on national television. 10 years earlier, she had told a stranger on a beach that this was the chair she wanted. Fred Silverman did not forget her. If you've enjoyed this so far, subscribe. We bring stories like this every week. 3 years later, Fred Silverman would remember that night on Johnny's couch, and he would change her life. Fred Silverman left CBS for ABC in the spring of 1975. By the fall of 1976, his network was casting a sitcom called Three's Company. The premise was simple: one man, two women, one apartment, and the comedy of pretending. The casting wasn't going well. The producers had run through 2 pilots and dozens of actresses, and the blonde role still didn't have a face. According to later accounts, Silverman remembered one. He told the producers to look at the tape of a guest he had seen on Johnny Carson 3 years earlier. They pulled her audition. They cast her the day before the pilot taped. The show premiered on March 15th. 1977. What happened next happened fast. Three's Company became the second most watched show in America. Suzanne later said her face appeared on 55 magazine covers in a single year. She won the People's Choice Award. Chrissy Snow was suddenly everywhere. Posters, magazine covers, bedroom walls across the country. 3 years earlier, she had been the blonde in The Thunderbird. Now she was one of the most watched women on television. The show was making ABC millions. And then Suzanne made one phone call. According to Suzanne and Alan's later accounts, they believed John Ritter was making $150,000 an episode. Around the same time, ABC had reportedly just gone through a costly raise dispute with Penny Marshall and Cindy Williams over at Laverne and Shirley. Suzanne's husband, Alan Hamill, made the call her agents told her to make. He asked the network to pay her what they believed John Ritter was making. The network's answer did not come from a contract negotiator. It came from a man Alan had never met before. According to Alan, the man used an old industry phrase. He said the network had decided to hang a nun in the marketplace, make a public example of her, and send a message to every other woman on a network show who might ask for the same kind of money. And Suzanne Somers was going to be the nun. The renegotiation meeting happened anyway. Suzanne and Alan walked into a room with the producers. In Alan's telling, Mickey Ross was sitting at the head of the table. He listened to Alan speak for 2 minutes. Then he stubbed out his cigarette, looked across the room at Suzanne, and said, "About the money, you want me to share my blood with her?" Alan stood up. He walked toward the stairs. The producer walked behind him. And by the time that meeting was over, the message was clear. She was out. Suzanne was not just fired. What happened was stranger and crueler. She was kept under contract, but her role was cut down to brief phone calls from another room. The network put her on a side set, a chair, a phone, a lamp. Chrissy would call the apartment, and Jack and Janet would answer. The audience would see Suzanne alone, separated from the cast that had made her famous. According to Suzanne, a guard was posted at the back door of the studio so she couldn't visit the cast. She later said John Ritter and Joyce DeWitt were instructed not to speak to her. Viewers watched that arrangement play out week after week. As Suzanne later told it, Alan took her by the shoulders in their living room and told her they were going to make it work for them. She could not see it yet. Years later, she told the Television Academy what came next in 5 words. For a year after that, I couldn't get an interview. 14 months after the network told her she was out, Suzanne Somers walked onto a different stage. She had chosen the song she was going to sing, and after everything she had been through, the choice said plenty. December 30th, 1982. Suzanne had not been on The Tonight Show since before the firing. The industry had heard the same thing the network told her. She would never work again. Johnny had every option open to him. He could have introduced her politely and moved on. Instead, before Suzanne even walked out from behind the curtain, he made a choice that told the country exactly where he stood.
And this coming Monday night, she has a special on, as they say, another network, entitled Suzanne Somers and 10,000 GIs. She's going to do a number tonight from a very famous Broadway play, called show actually, Guys and Dolls, and I think this is only the second time they've allowed this number to be performed on television. Would you welcome, please, Suzanne Somers.
Notice what he did not say. He did not mention Three's Company. He did not mention the firing. He did not mention the dark year. Johnny plugged her Atlantic City run. He plugged her variety special on CBS, another network, while she was still the woman ABC had pushed out. Then came the little phrase that almost slips by, as they say, another network. Johnny said it with a dry smile. He knew exactly which network it was.
Take back your ring. Take back your coil. Why
After everything Suzanne had been through, Johnny could have made the conversation heavy. Instead, he noticed the work.
Yeah, it's kind of a shock to your system. I've been
No, you're,
learning.
as I used to say, a striking figure of a woman. Yes, you are.
Couldn't you see it?
No.
Oh, I had a radio pack in the back of that corset. It adds about a couple inches to the back of you. I thought
In other words, it's a transmitter that you have to
Yeah.
wear in the back, and then the microphone is hidden.
It's hidden down in the bus line.
Well, it works very well. Right. The
Happy
hills are
microphone.
alive with the sound of music.
Yeah, right.
I'm sorry.
20 years into hosting The Tonight Show, one of the most disciplined interviewers in American television, and he couldn't keep a straight face around her. The conversation kept going, and what she said next would be the moment the cold open promised.
The
Well, I
studio.
think I was the first one who ever talked Fred into using a radio mic on the show.
Yeah,
I think.
and it worked very well.
And he did a lot of I Told You So's after.
Yeah.
But there's some numbers. I do a production show when I'm doing my night back, and some numbers you just can't hold a microphone.
Absolutely.
The problem with this thing is I wear it.
Fred was Fred de Cordova, Johnny's executive producer, the man who ran The Tonight Show for more than 20 years. And on that night, while the industry was still treating Suzanne like she was finished, she reminded the country that she had left her mark on Johnny's show too. Johnny could have turned it into a joke. He could have moved on. Instead, he gave her the one thing the network had taken away, the floor.
Don't take your love.
On that night in 1982, Johnny Carson did not give Suzanne Somers a comeback speech. He simply treated her like she still belonged there. And by the end of the interview, the network's version of Suzanne Somers was no longer the only version America had seen. Years later, Suzanne would say that being pushed out was the thing that forced her reinvention. In the biggest picture, she believed she had won because she had been forced to cut the cord. And eventually, Las Vegas gave her the kind of validation television had taken away. Suzanne later said she was named Female Entertainer of the Year, with Frank Sinatra named Male Entertainer of the Year the same night. She helped sell millions of Thigh Masters. She wrote more than 24 books. She built an empire out of being told she was finished. And it all traced back to the thing Johnny Carson saw the first night she sat on his couch. Suzanne knew how to take the room.